Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Snap Decisions. I am your Snap DJ, your host with the most, and I have another special guest with me tonight. It is Gregor, of course, content creator, Marvel Snap player. And Gregor, welcome, man. It's great to have you in the show today.
It's wonderful to be here. Thank you for inviting me on.
Absolutely, absolutely. Love it. Tell everybody first where they can find you. And of course, you just came off, you were doing streaming today. Let everybody know where they can find you and obviously how many times you stream and so on and so forth.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me first off on Twitter or X, Gregor _2424. You can also find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Gregor2424. Same with TikTok at Gregor2424 and YouTube at Gregor2424. I stream usually Mondays, Thursdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Monday is a little bit different, starting at 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. I am Pacific time. And then Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday is from 4 to 8 p.m. Pacific time.
Nice, nice. You must have loved it when they gave you the Twitch drops this time with the X-Men variants, man. That was I loved that for you guys because I thought, it's great overall. I mean, I tune into my favorite streamers for it all the time. You guys do a lot of work and a lot of, people don't really realize what it takes to do that and what goes into that. It's a lot of time and a lot of effort. You're the guys who a lot of people come to, like myself, to get ideas, for decks and to see, what's going on in like the higher levels of play and stuff like that. Maybe where we aren't from time to time. So, you must have been great because when I saw them release that and I saw that this is free for Twitch drops, I'm like, wow, that's amazing. As opposed to most of the time you're getting a pixel. So yeah, I thought that was great.
I love when they give us specific variants for Twitch drops. I know they did it originally with like a Nightcrawler variant. Was the first one, but they've had a few different ones. And whenever we get like custom ones, the Punisher one, the Peach Momoko Punisher was also a great one.
Yes.
But the X-Men 97, amazing. I'm excited for Wednesday for the last episode.
Oh, it's been off the wall good. Like crazy good, dude. I can't. I didn't expect it to be this good. I remember watching the originals and stuff, and I didn't really have expectations kind of set that high, but holy cow. Like the graphics in this, I keep saying like some of it is very anime-ish.
Yeah.
But then like the realism and stuff and that last episode, man, well, you know what, maybe we may as well chat about this. That last episode, reading Fatal Attractions in the 90s, I never thought I'd see that scene come to life anywhere, let alone an animation. And when I saw that happening, I'm like, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. And then sure enough, they have that scene where the adamantium just kept getting ripped out of Wolverine. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, I'm sitting there in awe. And I couldn't believe it, man. It's been such a great show. I'm kind of sad that the finale's this week.
I'm in the same boat. I'm like, what am I going to do for the next week? Like, I don't have something to look forward to anymore on Wednesday.
Oh man, it's been tremendous. I mean, you can now kind of see where they're going, I guess, a little bit with this. And if people didn't read the 90s series, more than likely we are gonna get Onslaught, I would kind of think.
Where it's headed, right?
Yeah, it has to be, right? I mean, with everything that happened and things, and of course, if you didn't read the comics, I would suggest to go back and read Fatal Attractions because they seem like they're pulling a decent amount from that. Because everybody's thinking, oh, does Wolverine die? He absolutely does not.
No.
And I'm not going to spoil it because if you haven't read the books, I'll tell you to do so. But when you see what happens with him, it's going to be like, oh crap! Like you just didn't expect what happens, but it has been fantastic, and I really hope that they make more of those cards. I want to see more of those variants.
Yeah. I want a Gambit variant so badly.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Are you a Gambit fan?
Gambit and Nightcrawler are big ones for me. I also like Wolverine a lot.
Yeah, dude. Like that. I mean, how about that scene where Gambit dies? Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah. I've cried 3 separate times from the show.
Oh man, like it's crazy. You would never think that. It's funny. I was just talking about this with a friend of mine who wanted to catch up on the originals first because he kind of forgot about them.
Yeah.
So he just got finished with that, and now he's watching the new set. And the minute he was done with this last episode, he messages me and he's like, "OMG," and I'm like,
yeah,
right? And I'm like, and he goes, I don't think I remember watching an animated series where I'm getting like emotional and stuff like that. He said it's crazy. And I'm like, yeah, oh, absolutely, dude. I 100% I see where you're coming from.
I really hope that they can take this and bring maybe more of these kind of series. Like if they could do a reboot of Spider-Man, the
Yes.
new series, or a reboot of any of those, and just keep it going, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we've got glimpses, right? We saw Spider-Man already.
Yep.
We saw Hulk, of course, that morph is morphing into some of these other characters. We
Yep.
saw Captain America. So I don't see why not. Like
Yeah.
the rights with all the stuff that's weird. Like like Hulk is still weird and they can't use all the Spider-Man because they're owned by Sony. None of that applies to animation. So they can do anything they want. They can bring in any characters they want to. So yeah, I would, there's a guy I watch on YouTube, does a pretty good job with like all that rumory stuff about, I think his name is Emergency Awesome. He does like all videos about all the rumors and stuff in Marvel, but he was actually saying that there's already been talks about
Okay.
doing a Spider-Man 97 and doing bringing it. So yeah, that would be fantastic. I love if they can. Obviously, they're continuing this. This is, I think they said at least 3 seasons.
Yep.
Already. So, and the fact that they're getting so much love from this, I think that why not? I mean, why not keep doing more?
Right. I mean, I imagine people are getting maybe Disney Plus subscriptions just to see this because there's so much hype around it.
Yep, I would think so. And man, hey, there's money. Wherever there's money, they're gonna do more.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been absolutely phenomenal, and I can't wait to see. I don't know if the finale is going to be. I didn't look to see the runtime. I don't know if it's going to be a little bit longer. Sometimes they make finales a little bit longer, but it's gonna be great. But it's also going to be sad that you're done with it, and you're like, oh man, now you got to wait another 6, 7, 8 months or whatever for the next parts. But yeah, it's been phenomenal, and I really think it's kind of added to games as well. Like interest in Snap, of course, and
Yep.
in Rivals now, which is just coming out and things that only helps that stuff too. Yeah.
Yeah, and they've been really good about that. I think Snap is really good about like whenever there's something going on within the Marvel IP, Snap is on it. Like it's usually something to do with the season.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and so they should, like with Wolverine and Deadpool coming out in July. Obviously,
Yep.
they have a Deadpool series, or Deadpool season pass coming out with Gwenpool, and even though she's not related to Deadpool in any way, but but they're capitalizing on that, and that's really what they should do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I love it, man. It's great. But yeah, so all right. I want to get started tonight. I want to talk to you first, and this was just like I love this kind of thing because with the my whole DJ background, I love breaking news. Stuff like used to happen on the but we got some breaking news, guys. We have. And this has been talked about by a lot of creators. In fact, I was just watching a stream today. I think it was Cozy and Alex's podcast. They were talking about the possibility of series drops and what cards they want to see. Well, lo and behold, we got an announcement for series drops today, going from Series 5 to Series 4, some cards, and some going from Series 4 to Series 3. I don't have a graphic for it because it came out a little bit too fast for me to get it up here, but going to start off and go through these with you, and we'll talk about each card. So Series 4 to Series 3, we'll start out with first. And we're going to start now. Be forewarned, you will see some cards in here that aren't great. So we'll start off with being one of those possibly, she gets a little more play now, though, in certain decks that want to keep priority. But let's start off with Martyr.
Yeah.
So Martyr's going from Series 4 to Series 3. She, of course, is a 1/5. Listen, anytime they're going to do these drops, I think people are going to be pretty happy about it, right? They're going to get a chance to get cards they never had before. So regardless of whether it's a completely useful card, I mean, this is a card, Martyr, that where someone maybe, I don't know, maybe they could find use for it in a zoo deck, right? If they're,
Yep.
a newer player or something like that. So what are your thoughts on Martyr?
I actually am a fan of Martyr. I like so her drawback. Her and Titania, I fit into like the same boat.
Yep.
Her drawback is that she'll lose you the game if she can do so.
Yes.
But with Ultron eating good right now, you're talking about Zudex. You fill up every lane with Ultron, she has nowhere to move. Or you lock her down with Professor X on 5. You get priority so early. If you're playing like a tempo deck, she plays great into that.
Yep.
She's not the best card in the world, but I think in my mind she might be better than Lizard. because she doesn't have the drawback of if you fill the lane going down to a 1 cost.
That's a great point. Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. That's a
I'm a
great
big
point.
fan of Martyr.
Yeah, I was using her in. I'm a Galactus stan, so I was using her in Galactus decks, and she does very well in that. And like you were saying, Lizard, a lot of times, the players will go right away to fill that lane, and they'll get
Yep.
that, the deduction from him. So having her there, and as you said too, a lot of lockdowns being played too. So like Professor X Cannonball decks, where she can go in there and she could just be in that Professor X lane and get you that 5 points. Yeah, I think she's a lot better than people realize. I think I could be one of the few that has her variant that's out there that probably no one got because everyone hated the card. When it came out, they're like, I'm not getting this.
I also have that for the sheer fact that nobody else got it. I'm like, I
Do
have the
you have it?
rarest card in Snap. Yeah.
It's
Yep.
That's the one with like all the other characters in the background. It's a really cool looking card.
Yeah.
That's well, there you go. At least I know someone else that has it.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, no, I think she's good. And again, dropping to Series 3, probably a good idea, I think, right?
Yeah. 100%. More people get her. Like all the cards that I'm seeing in Series 3, they're not like game-changing cards. Like they're not going to be the card that wins you the game, but they're good to have for niche decks. Yes. So you have more deck building opportunities.
Yep, absolutely. And another, a perfect example of that is obviously the next card, which is Silver Samurai. So again, not a card that gets played a whole lot, but he's good in those decks where you're going to play, I don't know, maybe the Blackhawk stat or Darkhawk stature decks where you're getting rid of the opponent's cards. Maybe, a mill type discard deck or something too. Again, so, and this is a deck type that could be something they revisit a little bit in the future with other cards, I think.
Yeah, agreed. And he plays also really well with Dakin. So Dakin puts the Muramasa shard into your hand. Silver Samurai guarantees on 4 that you hit that as long as you don't have like a hood in your hand. Yeah. Which I have a Darkhawk list that I made a couple weeks back that runs Silver Samurai along with Darkhawk and some other cards. He's a fun one.
Yeah, we'll have to chat about Darkhawk. I think you were on Snap Judgment's podcast recently, weren't you?
Yeah.
You might have been the one I heard. So were you talking about Darkhawk on that show?
Probably. I like Darkhawk a lot.
Okay. I saw a Darkhawk deck that was out there that Snap Judgment shared. Of course, Glazer shared on his show. And I'm like, I got to give this a go because I heard you talking about it and I haven't touched Darkhawk. And it probably more so because everybody, when the nerf came and everything like that, people tend to just put a card to the side. Holy cow, dude, that deck is good. Like I'm winning all kinds of games with that deck. And I'm like, damn, this Darkhawk's really good.
He could fit into a lot of lists too. Like you could play him in a bounce type. You can play him in like a off meta discard type. I've seen a few different variations of it. So like they'll play Korg, they'll play Rock Slide, they'll beast those cards back into hand, play them again at a cost deduction, make the hugest Darkhawk.
Yeah. It's actually really good. I was like, man, I was just playing the run of the mill one with Korg and Rock Slide and stuff, and it's just, when I heard a comment, I'm thinking like, you don't think of it this way, but those rocks that you're throwing in there, they really disrupt these decks. Yeah. Like a lot of these decks are so reliant today on getting that one card. Hela, for instance, they need that card. If you fill up that, and I can remember playing against some Darkhawk lists, and I'm playing with Heller. I'm playing with a deck where I need these certain cards. You're not going to draw it, chances are, because if it's buried in there and you've got those rocks coming out. So that's a fantastic point. And yeah, listen, I'm definitely a Darkhawk believer now, and I'm going to be playing it more and more. Yeah, that's awesome, man. But yeah, great point about Silver Samurai. We have Howard the Duck. Poor Howard.
I'm a Howard the Duck believer, truther.
I like Howard the Duck, dude.
Howard the Duck and Iron Lad. Those are the two.
It's a great combo.
Yeah, they have such good synergy. So if you know what you're going to do, like in Tribunal decks, for example, or even another one where you can Iron Lad into something that's going to be helpful. Like imagine Iron Ladding into Professor X. That's so much value right there.
Yeah.
Like you're locking down a lane and you're putting 6 power on the board at the same time.
Yep. Yeah. I don't think people think that he's worth the card space is what the problem is. Like I think they don't think that his ability is like worth what it does, but oh my gosh, in a tribunal deck, it's really good to know. Like
Yeah.
that's a perfect way to know, hey, am I going to get this combo? Am I going to get this? I was playing a tribunal deck in a Infinity Conquest. I was in the last match and I was down we were down to 2 cubes each. And so it's winter golem and I'm cycling through. I had the tribunal, I
Yep.
had the iron, or I had the onslaught. Only card I needed was that Iron Man. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I didn't know whether it was I had one card left to draw. And
Yeah.
had I had Howard, I would have known like he was the last card in my deck. I'm like, oh, so yeah, I agree. He's such a great character too in Marvel.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I agree with you. I think the card is I think better than a lot of people give it credit for. And now maybe Howard will get his due a little bit now that he's going down to Series 3.
So I actually the best I've ever done on Infinite Ladder, top 1,000 in America, was with Howard in a tribunal list.
Nice.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah. So I'm just saying, Howard works.
Yeah.
Howard does some work.
Yeah, in that kind of deck, you would think it would. I mean, because you need to know what you're getting in order to know whether or not you're going to be able to pull off a win or you're not. So
Yep.
yeah, absolutely. The best of this bunch, I think, is the next card up. So we have Mirage. Now Mirage isn't used everywhere, but she's in one of the best lists that's out there, of course, and that's Loki.
Yep.
So I think pretty good card. Some people will say that Cable is better and stuff like that, and you don't necessarily need her, but very good card, especially if you're thinking you may want to play a Loki deck or a Mill deck, I would think.
Yep. I agree with you. Yeah, Cable can fill this slot, but it's good to have options.
Mm-hmm. Yep, no doubt. And then, of course, we've got Echo. Now, Echo, I've been playing a little bit of Echo recently. I've been playing that ongoing list, the Spectrum ongoing list.
Yep.
And I've noticed others have been too. So she works good as just that one slot card, which normally is Nebula. But if you think you may be coming up against some of these ongoing decks and you want to slot something in to kind of help against it, she's a pretty good card to throw in there at that one position. She's very sneaky. I still find myself with that card. Somebody will play it, I'll forget about it. I guarantee you I'll forget it's there. And then I come up on it and I throw a card in there and I'm like, oh, I just totally forgot it was there.
I've Iron Man'd into Echo. I've Blue Marveled into Echo. It's like you don't see her. You forget that she's there. And just in general, we're kind of in an ongoing meta right now.
That's true.
People are starting to tech Enchantress over Shang-Chi right now because of how much ongoing is happening. So Echo is just a good one-cost option for holding down a lane.
Yeah. She's going to be in a lot more of those ongoing lists too, because now with, of course, like you were saying, with the Patriot decks, where they're doing is they're playing Patriot, Mystique. They're filling that one lane with all their ongoings, and then they want to play the Ultron. So they're filling up those other 2 lanes with all those bots. It's like you said, it's a great time right now to be playing these things that are going to take out ongoing cards. So yeah,
Echo will even take out Cosmo. So like if they try to Cosmo to stop the Enchantress, Echo stops that too.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, she's a very sneaky good card, but yeah, good point. I think she's going to be a lot better in the current meta that we've got going on. Then we go to Series 5. Now, this is going Series 5 to Series 4. I'll tell you what, I was kind of surprised that there's some really good cards in this list. Really good cards, like staple cards that people need, for deck types. I'm gonna start with the ones. We'll go bottom to top here. So I'll start with Selene. Now, Selene, I've always kind of liked Selene. I play her in anything that I play that is going to give negative power. So in my Annihilus lists, I'll use her in. I've had her in Galactus decks already if I want to try to get the goblins bigger. So I don't know. She's not a favorite card of a lot of people, but I kind of like her. She also kind of throws that negative power over to the other side. So she may hit a card from them that they don't necessarily want to be hit. So I don't know. I think Selene has some potential. I think maybe more so than people might play her.
I think she might need a buff or something.
Yeah, could be.
I think if we moved her to, what is her power at? She's
What does she do? Give a -2?
Hold on. And she is set.
Yeah, I'm looking her up too.
She's a 1/2.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
she's a. Go ahead.
-3, so she's effectively a 1/5, which isn't too bad.
Yeah.
Because she's hitting the other ones.
Yep.
Yeah, she plays great in junkless.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely worth a grab if you're into that type of arc type of deck.
Yeah, and Junk's been pretty good. I mean, it's been steady. Of course, with the Annihilus package built in there, and
Yep.
some people play Debris, and that clog type of it. So it's still definitely prevalent. It's definitely still out there. I've seen it a lot on Ladder, and I've seen it in Conquest too. So yeah,
Yep.
it's not the greatest card maybe in that set, but yeah, still I think pretty good. She's got a fire variant. Man, that variant that just came out with her, holy cow! Uh,
Yeah.
I love it. That portrait style variant that they did is amazing looking. Um, this is big. Gladiator, man. Gladiator is a fantastic card and has been since they changed it. 3/8 obviously pulls another card out of your opponent's deck and basically destroys it. Sure, you will get the odd times where you'll hit a big card, unfortunately, and he then curses at it because he can't destroy it. But this is a fantastic card, and I think really one of the best that in these drops.
Agreed. Yeah, I'm looking at the ones I'm thinking are the top right now, and
Yep.
Gladiator is in that list of top 3 easily.
Yeah.
Three cost card, works with Surfer, works in Mill, works
Yep.
in like pretty much everything. He's a great 3 cost card that can flex.
Yep. Yep.
Um, yeah,
And he was
great.
in X-Men 97.
Yeah, he was.
It was cool to see him in there. I think that may have been the first time I may have seen him uh, around anywhere in Marvel, especially recently that I could think of. He's in a lot of comic books, but yeah, it was cool to see him in the series.
He was in the 90s TV show briefly.
He was. Yeah.
But it is nice to actually see him and where he fits within the whole universe, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. He was out in the far reaches with where Professor X is with the Shi'ar.
Yep.
So yeah, so kind of cool. But you saw how powerful he was
Yeah.
in that. He's. I always kind of laughed and joked about it. He's kind of like Marvel's Superman.
A bit, yeah.
Yeah. Except for the fact that he's, if he feels he can't, he doesn't have confidence. And if he doesn't have confidence,
yeah,
he
he gets
backs
super
off.
weak, right?
He gets, yeah. If
He has
he's like,
performance anxiety. That's what
yep.
it is.
If he comes up against something like, yeah, I can't beat this, I'm just out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's between him and Sentry. I think they're as close as we'll get to Superman in Marvel.
Agreed.
So, and they're both flawed, which I think is really, really funny. Next card up is Nebula, man. Oh my gosh, I've loved Nebula since it's been out. I play Nebula in so many decks. She's just fantastic because she's either going to sit there and gain power and going to force your opponents to play in that lane, or they're going to ignore it, and she's going to be a pretty good card. She may be a 1/6, she may be a 1/5. Either way, this has been since day one just a fantastic card.
She applies pressure. She works great in pretty much, you can fit her into any type of deck. It's like my favorite one drops in the game are Nico, Nebula, and Kitty. Those are the 3.
Yep.
And Nebula can just fit in there. You can lock down a lane. You can storm it if you have Nebula there. That's what a lot of people do. They try to make sure your opponent can't get in there. So Nebula just keeps growing and increasing in power.
Yep. Yeah, I love the card. Again, she's been a proponent of a lot of the decks that I play, and so I think this is a great drop for people that don't have her already. Silk. This is cool because again, we're seeing the rise again a little bit of the silky smooth type decks with Angela and Kitty, and of course Spider-Man. And again, what I think people have to remember about these drops, right, is that they're not necessarily meant for people who have every card or very close to having every card. These are for the people who who can't get their hands on these cards, and now they have the options to play with a deck that they may have not been able to play before. So I think listen, Silk is a great card for that silky smooth.
Yep. I 2/5 great stats. I've gotten destroyed playing Silk before. Like she's messed me up a couple of times by going into the wrong lane, but she like her stats are great.
Yep.
2-5 is awesome.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, her and in that list, she just works really, really well. So yeah, absolutely, she's a good card, and again, that deck has made a comeback, and I'm sure it'll be around for a little while with Angela being as good as she is now.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah.
love the Angela change.
Oh yeah, me too. I think it was necessary. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Then we look at the top three here on the row, and we've got Jean Grey. Again, that ongoing deck that I've been playing, she is amazing in that deck. You throw her in that one lane, messes them up pretty badly because a lot of them aren't playing, especially now with the decks that are out there again that are playing the higher cost cards.
Yep.
They are not going to be able to play one card here and one card there many times. So you're really messing them up with her, and just works so well in that ongoing list and kind of getting a little bit of a resurgence. She's a fantastic character. We both talked about X-Men 97, one of the best X-Men that there is. Really never got her due. She didn't get much play when the card released, but I love it that she's found a home and people are starting to find out how good the card actually is.
Yeah, that ongoing list, you lay down Jean Grey, then you Cosmo afterwards.
Yep.
You can't do any on reveals.
Yep.
Then you lay down like a Punisher or a Mojo. They have to fill the lane. You're guaranteed that. I like that she's found a space in kind of a control type deck.
Yes.
I think that's where she really, really shines because you're forcing your opponent to play.
Yep. Yep, you're forcing them to play their cards in that lane. Yeah, very much like the character, right? Because she, with her powers and stuff, that's what what she does. She's got the psionic powers where she can force people to do things and stuff. So yeah, very, very, very attributed to the character. So yeah, I love that, and I'm liking it. By the way, there's a fire variant out today, Jim Lee variant that came out in the shop of Gene today. That looks, I might have to get it. I love Jim Lee's art. So yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. I saw that one. Her eyes a little bit.
Yes, her eyes are a little cross-eyed. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why that came, because like there's no way. I'm wondering if that was translation from book to the game, because
had to be, because Jim Lee is such a good artist.
He is, and there's no way he's ever drawn crossed eyes. I don't think that I can remember. So yeah, there must have been something in translation there where it didn't pull over right.
Yeah,
but yeah, her one eye is kind of over on this side, and the other one's like over the other.
They're looking in different directions.
Yes. Yeah, they are. But yeah, I love the Jim Lee stuff, and he was such a big part of X-Men. So
right.
yeah, but yeah, it's a shame she released that way. But hey, it's still a very cool card. The animation's awesome too on it. So
yeah, agreed. Jim Lee and like Kim Jacinto are the ones. Yeah, those are the comic book styles that are like, that's what I think of when I think of Marvel Comics.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's been so many good ones. Jim Lee has done. My brother-in-law, who draws a little bit, is a big fan of Jim Lee. He watches Jim Lee has like YouTube tutorial videos for people that want to learn how to draw comics. Awesome. Yeah, like I mean, and it's just, you'll just see him like doodling. He showed me a couple of these, and you'll just see him there just starting to just doodle this and do it, and like amazing stuff. He's drawn for Marvel. He's drawn for DC. He went over there and did Batman and did Superman, which were incredible. He's just amazing. He's a fantastic artist. Next up, we've got the Living Tribunal. This is a deck all its own.
Yep.
And again, with Iron Man and Onslaught, cards that almost everybody should have. You may see a lot more Tribunal being played now, because now some of these other players who may not be collection complete, they might not have a lot of these newer cards and stuff like that, can now definitely get a great deck here with Living Tribunal.
Absolutely. I'm a big fan of the Tribunal decks. You get Onslaught, Super Scroll for the mirror matchup.
Yep.
That way, if they're putting a lot of their Onslaught, Iron Man stuff in one lane, you boost and you go above theirs.
Yep.
Yeah, you can get some ridiculous numbers. You can get to where you basically break the game and it goes as high as it can number-wise.
I've seen some of those, like somebody posted one with like 1 billion. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, there's a certain number it can get to where it can't go any higher in the game, and you can do that with Tribunal.
Yeah. It's a good deck. It stands up to, listen, if you get that combo off and the other player doesn't have the stuff needed to counter you, you're just going to win. You're just going to win.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all there is to it. Nobody can go taller than it. So yeah, I think this is great. And again, we're getting a fire variant for this
Oh yeah.
actually in the spotlight caches this week, which is cool because I have a couple variants of him. Nothing spectacular, but the one for him and Legion that are coming
They're
tomorrow.
so good. They've been on my list. The Ink Pulp and what's the other one?
Oh, I don't remember now. Again, I was looking at this earlier. I don't remember what they were, but yeah, the Ink Pulp one is awesome. But yeah,
Ink
if you
Pulp is
find
the Living Tribunal, and then it's Flaviano.
yeah,
Flaviano
yeah,
is going to be doing the Legion variant.
yeah, they're both amazing. So I was kind of gonna take it light with the spotlight caches this month, but when I saw this week, I'm like, yeah, I gotta have those variants. They're
Going
awesome.
all in.
Yeah, me too. Me too. There go my keys. All right, and we've got one more. This one.
Yep, I'm the same feeling.
Probably not the best one, but I'm not really shocked that he got moved because we do get some that are kind of clunky that get moved down from one series to another. The only good thing about this guy is maybe he's a candidate for a future buff of some type or a card change, but it's Hercules. The thought I think was there for whatever reason. And I don't know, I'd like to get your thoughts on this too. Move decks, I am not good with them. I know there are people that are out there that are fantastic move players. I've seen some of them on people's streams. Molt used to be big in move, like every stream he did was a move deck. You need to, I call them big brain decks, because you really need to know and plot your course of where you're going with everything ahead of time. Those are the people that, if you're coming up against them, they're the ones that are taking almost the entire clock to make a move because they're trying to figure out exactly, okay, this goes here, this goes here, this is going to go this way. I'm going to get this over here. I'm going to play my Heimdall. They're all going to move to here. It's a lot of thinking. And man, my hat's off to them because I know I can't do it. So, but Hercules, they figured would be good. He could bounce, cards back. They get a bonus and stuff. And they thought it would be a good move card. It just hasn't worked out that way. And you really just never see. I mean, he's probably played now less than Spider-Man 2099, who really wasn't played at all either. So hopefully maybe they do something to maybe fix up Hercules because he's a cool character.
I think if they lowered him to a 3, I think that would fix it.
Yeah.
They seem to give every other deck type love except for Move. Move doesn't get a lot of love from Snap. Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah, it's funny. I wonder if they just don't want it to be good.
I
wonder
something.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like I don't know if like there's certain things. Now I understand Mill, right?
Yeah.
Mill is obnoxious. And if you let that get out of control where people just don't have a card, they're going to be sitting there with no cards in their deck. And it's like, what can I do? I can't do anything but retreat. And I don't know whether or not they're afraid of move, thinking that this can get a little out of hand, especially now with Dagger. Dagger is incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
And of course, Human Torch, you could just get that moving back. And Vulture too gets pretty big pretty quickly. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the thing is with move. Like, what are your thoughts on maybe why? I don't know. I think, like I said, they may be a little afraid of the card.
But like you said, it takes a lot of big brains to play Move. Move is probably one of my weakest deck types, along with Bounce. Both are very high IQ. You have to be making basically you have to be aware of where your cards are. Are you going to clog yourself? Is it going to move to the right? How much power is it going to get? There's a lot of moving information. So I don't think it would hurt for them to give people more reasons to play Move, to like get their feet wet with it, and then maybe move to those higher IQ plays.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. Look, every card game that you play, for me, I started with Magic back in the day. So, there's always going to be deck types. Now, they have a much larger variety of cards, obviously, but everybody plays different ways. And that's the whole thing that's fun about these games, that people can kind of pick out what they like. And they can play that style. Like for me, I'm a Galactus player. I just love that style. I like ramping. I like getting out and of course I like the obnoxious animation. I like all that. But in Magic, when I played in the 90s and stuff, and I was playing like physical games, card games, I was a discard player. and that's what I played. It was straight black. I didn't play any other colors, and it was just black discard. I'm getting rid of your hand, and that's all I wanted to play. So yeah, I think I think it's good to have move. It gives you something else in there. And for those players that they want to put that thought into it, they want to sit there, unlike some of the decks, right? Where maybe Hella can be said as one of them, right? And not saying you don't have to think to play it, but that deck is very linear and you
Yep.
kind of know what you're getting, right? But move, you do need to have that thought process, right? I don't know. I think it's good. I agree with you. I think it's good to have it in there just for those other type of players that enjoy it.
Exactly. I don't know, more options for people to do new things that maybe there's new ways to play move outside of, Heimdall and Dagger and some of these other stuff. I think Hercules can open those options up, but I think he needs a change.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Well, anyway, look, we got series drops. That's a good thing. I know the last 2 weeks I've been talking to my guests and stuff that I've had on the show, and we've been talking about, and we'll get into the discussion a little bit with you, but we've been talking about where the game is headed, right? Like, people have been getting a little down, I think, on the game over the past month or two because of the monetization things that we seem to be getting a lot of.
Yep.
We went from the gold bundles going away and gold kind of getting scarce, and then we're just seeing these really big packages to purchase, the $99 ones and stuff, and then we end up getting those borders that came out, and everybody that was kind of a feels bad too, because you can't get them for they're expensive and they don't work for every card. It's just one card. So getting this announcement, I think today, to me was almost like a necessity, because
Yep.
I think it's a good show from Second Dinner that says, okay, we're doing something for you guys. We're getting something moving in a different direction.
Yeah. I think it, buys some favor from the community a little bit.
I think, yeah.
A little bit of leeway.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you as a creator. I mean, you're going to see the people who come out to watch you and to check out your shows. What's the pulse of it? Because I just posted a question on my Twitter account, and I wanted to get everybody's gauge on this. Like, and the only question was to everybody that I put out there was, are you having fun playing Marvel Snap? Very easy question, and a yes or no. And then I asked people to please let me know if the answer is either way. Let me know why you do, and let me know what it is or why you don't. And I've been getting some interesting answers so far. But from your community, what is it you're seeing from the people who watch or check out your shows?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
People. So there's two different sides to this. People are feeling like Second Dinner is monetizing too heavily. At the same time, a lot of the monetization features are cosmetics, and you still have the option to get cards as you go along from a new player perspective. So, yeah, it goes a little bit both ways. I get a lot of questions from newer players, like what cards should I save for, things like that. Like what should I be building for a deck-wise? What's going to get me to infinite, things like that. Personally, myself, I still enjoy Snap very much. I like where the meta is right now. I liked the shift from it being all. I didn't like the Thanos meta. I didn't like the Thanos meta at all. And I like the change. It went to mill, and now we're kind of on an ongoing thing going now.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. The Thanos thing was just overbearing. It was too much. Everybody was playing it. And if you weren't playing a variation of it and you tried to compete, you just weren't going to win. That's how it was. Yeah, that was pretty obnoxious. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a funny question. And look, you're going to get people that are they're going to get unhappy at times, no matter what game it is they're playing. Things are going to go up. Things are going to go down. I mentioned Magic. I'm going to go back there a little bit with you. So where did you get your start with playing games / card games? Did you start off playing, other card games before you came to Snap? Or did you pretty much just come in from like a video game perspective?
So I grew up, my earliest introduction to card games was Pokemon in like elementary school, then Yu-Gi-Oh! In middle school.
Yep.
I didn't start doing competitive stuff until maybe it was Yu-Gi-Oh! But I started doing Hearthstone was probably my biggest introduction. to the strategy gaming space. Did that for a while. I really liked the stuff that Ben Brode was doing when he was on the Hearthstone team. So when I saw that there was a new IP coming out that was Marvel specific and Ben Brode was leading that project, I'm like, oh, I'm all in on that. That's going to be 100% the game that I play. And I've been playing ever since it came out, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, you're not the first person that's told me that. That has come from the same direction. They were playing Hearthstone, and they're like, "Yep, we followed Ben because we just liked what he did." That's great, man. When you could be a game designer, and because I can probably count on my probably one hand of maybe game designers that I actually know their names.
Yeah.
There's not many, and so the fact that he has a following like that, where he could just go do something and people will be like, yeah, I'm following that dude. He knows what he's doing and he makes fun stuff. So I'm going there. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, love it. Now, as far as Marvel stuff, so were you always a Marvel fan growing up and stuff too? Were you into like the comics? Were you into other like the movies? How did you get into Marvel?
Like all the things. Like I had Marvel action figures growing up.
Me too.
Like
Yep.
one of my favorite ones was Daredevil. I had the
Yeah, nice.
Wolverine. Now that I'm looking back, I watched the '90s series where he transformed into like the big wolf. I had
Yes,
the big wolf Wolverine toy.
that's awesome.
Uh, Whenever I would go to the store or like the pharmacy, I would pick up a new X-Men comic. X-Men was my jam. So like I would buy the giant omnibuses of Marvel
Yes.
stuff so I would know all of their backgrounds. Yeah, so it's always been like a special interest ever since I was little.
Yeah, that's one of the things. Really, one of the reasons why I came to play it too is because of the lore. I love not only looking at the art, but also looking at the lore of the characters and stuff like that too. Because, yeah, sure, they're out there now probably more than ever with the MCU and the films and stuff like that. And but I'm getting to see characters in a game that I may never have seen in a game before. And I think that's tremendous. And them, the graphics of the powers. I like, for me, for instance, I was always a big from when I was a kid. And I was growing up in the 70s, and my grandparents or my mom, I don't remember who, but they got me a book and record when I was a kid. These were like audiobooks back in the day, where
Okay.
they'd have a narrator that would literally read the comic book. And they picked me up a Man Thing comic. And I'm like, and this Man Thing was a horror comic. No, make no bones about it, it was. And especially in the 70s, the cover of the comic has Man Thing on it, and he's holding a clown in his hands. And the clown is obviously dead. And I'm like, and it was about a suicidal clown. The clown kills himself at the
Okay.
beginning of the story. Man Thing hears it, goes out and gets involved in this whole big story. But I'm like, that's what introduced me to the character, and I've loved it ever since. And that's probably also why I like horror films now. But looking back at that, I go to my mom like, "What were you thinking?" like, like I was like 6. I'm like, what were you thinking buying me this thing? Like, normally a kid would be terrified of like a story like this. But the whole moral of that story is it's a character that I loved since I was a little boy. And I still read to this day. And like you were saying about the omnibuses and stuff, I have all of his.
Yep.
I still have that when that comic book cover came out, I had to have it in Snap
The Man
because
Thing one.
yes, I own it. I have
Uh,
the comic.
Man
Yep.
Thing is one of my favorite type of cards to play. I'm a Man Thing enjoyer.
Oh, I
Uh,
love it.
it's fantastic. I love that he's getting love within that ongoing deck.
Yep.
But I had a Man Thing junk list for a while that I did. Great card. Love the
Yeah.
character too.
The only pet peeve I have, and I've said this on stream, when he does his ability,
Mhm.
should have been fire and not the green stuff.
Oh yeah, great point.
Because his whole thing is he who touches or he who is fearful burns at the touch of the Man Thing, and that's what he would do in that Werewolf by Night series. When they
Yeah,
got to be afraid of him, he literally burned them, and that's what he would. That's what he does. That's my only pet peeve, but that's a very small little thing. I was just thrilled to see him come to the game. I was like, yes, Man Thing is in the game.
I love the attention to detail they put into this game. They have their voice lines. I love moving the cards around on the screen and seeing their animations. Squirrel Girl like shoots off little chestnuts or acorns all
Yep.
over. It's so good. Like,
Yeah.
just so much attention to detail. And I feel like a lot of the cards do stay pretty lore accurate with their abilities as well.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt. Like we were talking about Gladiator earlier when he curses because he can't kill the thing. Yeah, it's little things like that
Mhm.
that I see. And you know, speaking of which, and we mentioned Thanos a little earlier, and I get your opinion on this too. Thanos is obviously getting changed. They talked about it. They're changing the stones to be more reflective of Thanos. I'll be honest, and I know a lot of people are probably upset about this. I'm actually excited about this direction with him. He was never played. The card sat in people's decks and they never played him. I know myself. I had him in my deck as a 620 and I didn't put him on the board because I
Mhm.
was playing everything else that was in the deck. So I want to see those stones be more Thanos centric. Make the Thanos card better where people want to play him. So I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, but if you could change those stones, now we already know one is allowing you to play Thanos earlier.
Yep.
But if you could change those stones, and I've heard some people give some crazy ideas, like I had one too. I thought, how cool would it be if he collects them all? You get an Infinity Gauntlet graphic appear on the screen
Yeah.
that the gauntlet is full. And then all of a sudden you see a snap, which I mean, Marvel Snap, right? You see the snap, and then half of the cards in your side disappear, and it's random. And I'm like, now that would be broken. There's no way they would do it, but I think that would be tremendous.
Yeah.
A way to do it. But like, yeah, what way if you were a dev and you could take these stones, what would you do to make them make Thanos better?
Maybe not even go the direction of stones. Maybe just do an infinity gauntlet that gets mixed into your hand.
Mm,
I mean, I like the idea of the stones, but maybe there's an infinity gauntlet and it does something to Thanos when you play. It has its own stats, for
okay.
example, like a 3/3 or something like that, and it could have some ability that you can't play Thanos until the gauntlet is played, and maybe it doubles Thanos's power wherever he is,
Mm,
or something like that. I feel like most of the stones kind of do what they're supposed to. I'm not a big fan of the fact that Thanos always starts left in your hand now
yeah,
because
that's
he
weird.
consistently gets Spider Hammed. So I'm like, cool, I have Thanos. I want to play Thanos. I now have a big pig.
Yes. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, that I hope they change that. Because I know, yeah, the first couple of times I was trying to play the deck and people had Spider Ham, he's constant target for that. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, no doubt. Yeah, it's a good point.
I
But
think
yeah,
maybe as more cards come out, we'll see another Thanos meta in the future that fits well with him. I still think Thanos is pretty good as is. I think there's one of the top 100 players on the ladder that does Thanos.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still out there. You know, you can still play the whole thing with Mockingbird and with all that stuff that was in the list before and Call Obsidian and everything. And yeah, it's still, especially now you got Psylocke back. And
Yeah.
they can play Psylocke again in the deck. So yeah, it's still around. But yeah, well, speaking of the lore of the cards and stuff like that, let me talk a little bit about maybe some cards that, like, if you could, what are some cards that you would maybe give a buff to? I know I've got my own list. I'm going to pull up the slide because we this card is mentioned in so many times.
Yep.
Uh, Poor Captain America, man. Let's go. We got to give this guy a buff. Do something with him. I mean, he's such an iconic character to Marvel. And I get they would talk about, well, he's an intro card and again teaches people how to play, but still, come on, man, you got to do something. Give Cap some love.
The fact that they buffed the U.S. agent before Captain America bothered me. That was unnecessary. Punisher got a buff before Captain
Right?
America did.
Right? Yeah.
Uh, I don't understand how Iron Man's a 5 cost and Captain America is a 3 cost too. I'm like,
Yeah.
shouldn't they be about even wise? Just
I would think, right?
yeah,
From the films and stuff like that, when you would see them in the movies, they're just as important, if not more so.
that's what I'm
Um,
saying. Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think if I could change him, maybe instead of it just being a single area that gets buffed, maybe it would be any area that's filled gets a buff. Like all
Okay.
of the cards in an area that is filled, they get like a team up thing from his, Captain America ness.
That's kind of cool. Yeah, I could dig that. I know some people were saying stuff about maybe the shield, like where you see like the shield gets tossed in, like similar to your idea, but gets tossed in the 3 lanes. and
Hmm.
not buffs necessarily everyone in all 3 lanes because that would be very broken. But maybe it'll buff like similar to kind of how you were saying, like one maybe card in like the other lanes. Maybe give the 1 lane that it's in a buff or 2, and then buff those other 2 cards. I don't know, but something needs to be done.
Or like an affliction. What if he tossed the shield at your opponents and it chooses like 3 random opponents and hits them with negative?
That'd be okay. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I listen. Anything that they could do to buff
Yeah,
the fandom of Marvel Snap is going to like let out one big rejoice when Captain America gets
he
buffed
has
someday.
such good variants too.
Oh my gosh, that the one with the TV screen, like the staticky screen behind him. That was one of the first variants I got. I love the variant. I'd play that constantly. In fact, I can't even ink the card, and I really love to do it because I don't play him enough to get the to be able to upgrade the cards.
Yeah,
But oh, he does. Yeah, like fire variants. The one with the Wakanda shield I like a lot.
the Peach Momoko variant is amazing.
Oh gosh,
The Hellfire Gala one, he looks
yes,
incredible in with his
yeah.
suit.
Yeah, we need to do something with Cap for
For
sure. They have
sure.
to, they got to buff Captain America. What are some other cards that you would like to see get changed?
Elektra. I'd like to see
Oh
Elektra
yeah,
get a buff.
that's another great call.
Something, I don't know, either increase her power, but just the fact that she only takes out a single 1-cost card isn't enough for me to play her. Let me think. Which other ones? I'm like opening Snap now.
Elektra's a great one. Yeah, like she's such a great character too in the comics and stuff.
Yeah.
And even in the times when she was in the Daredevil series and stuff, yeah, like a fantastic character. Should get more love. Her ability's cool. I mean, she's very useful if you play her later in the game. Like, let's say you're playing against a scaling Sunspot. I mean,
Or
fantastic.
a Quinjet.
Or a Quinjet, right? Exactly. Fantastic way to get rid of stuff, but she's got to have something better to be able to want to play her for that.
Yeah.
When she's really just taking out one card. So whether it's stats or something, but yep.
I'm scrolling through my cards right now, seeing if they're
No problem. Take your time.
M'Baku.
Oh yeah, poor M'Baku.
He got such a good variant recently. The one by Matthias Manhani.
Oh yes, I've seen it.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Just maybe, I don't know, 1-2 is not enough.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe a 1-3, 1-4 would make him.
1-3, I think, would be good. Yeah, 1-3, 1-4 might be a little too overpowered, but 1-3, I think I could see. If it jumps into your hand from somewhere, I mean, you're getting 3 power. That's not anything to sneeze at. Yeah, I could see that. I could see a 1-3 M'Baku. He was, again, in Black Panther movies, he was a very cool character. You know, I mean, he was that big guy that you always saw in the middle of the battles and stuff like that. Had that big fight with Black Panther in the original one. So yeah, that I definitely could see needing something.
The other two I can think of immediately, Quicksilver and Angel, could both use a change. I have a very sick Angel variant that I never get to play.
Oh, the Alex Ross Angel too is out there.
Yeah,
the one where he's carrying the child in his arms from the. That card needs something. I mean, that never gets played. Even in the only time I see that is with bots. They're the only ones that play that card. They play destroy decks that have that card in it, and that's the only time I ever see it played.
And you're immediately like, that's a bot. There's no person actually playing Angel.
No one would ever have it in their deck unless it was a bot. So yeah. But you're right. So many cool variants for that card. And again, in the movies and stuff, even in the comics, of course, too. Such an amazing character. I would think, like, why not maybe try him in a moves scenario? Have him in a move deck. You know what I mean? Like, it would only kind of make sense.
He has wings, right?
Yeah.
Or you could do something with the fact that he was one of the Apocalypse, the 4 Horsemen.
Yep.
So you could do something with his metal wings.
Yep. Have him, like, even if you play him out, let's say he's almost like another Iron Fist in a way, where he stays the 1-2 power, but when you put him out there, he's like a second Iron Fist where he can carry one of your other move cards to another lane.
That would be cool. Yeah. I don't think we. Is there another card that moves one of your cards to another space?
Well, Iron Fist kind of does, right? When you play him, he knocks somebody over to the other lanes.
But that's one card moving. What if both cards moved with
Oh,
Angel?
like he moved with it. No, I don't think there is actually.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. Like if he flies him over and then he stays at that lane with the other card. Yeah, that'd
Yeah.
be cool. Yeah.
You know, something
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. That might be a pretty good idea. I wouldn't mind that. Anyway, any others you're seeing?
I'm going through right now.
Yeah, take your time.
I'm trying to think. When was the last time I saw Rhino?
Oh yeah, Rhino. Yeah, he's a fun Spider-Man villain too. Man, yeah, he destroys a location. I mean, I don't know how you would make him better.
Yeah.
It's location manipulation's pretty strong, but he's not used for it. You have
Right.
Legion out there, and now you have Nocturne out there that's going to be used a lot. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what you would do. I don't know what you would do with him. He'd be a tough one to change
Yeah.
because we want to keep him with location manipulation. I don't know, like, yeah, that's a tough one.
Well, do you feel like we have enough location manipulation as is? Do you feel like he's kind of unnecessary? Like,
That could be. Maybe he just needs a rework.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I would say make him maybe even add a point of power to make him a 3/6. That's a better stat line a little bit, right? He's right. He'd be right. I mean, you have the 3/7 stat lines, which are kind of premium.
yep,
Make him a 3/6. And I don't know, just give him another power, like if you think of Spider-Man comics, um, really he was just kind of a big bruiser dude. And really the thing is he would just run you over. He would just,
yep,
he would just knock you over. So I don't know, maybe he just rams a card. Maybe say Rhino's a 3/6, comes in, rams an opponent's card in the lane and takes away 2 power. And then
yeah,
you'd make him a 3/8.
yeah.
Maybe something like that.
Affliction or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would maybe 3/6 is a little bit too high, but I like the idea with you got there.
Yeah. Or even a 3, like if he's a 3/5, he'd be a 3/7,
Yeah,
which
there
is,
you go.
yeah.
I'd say
Yeah.
that's in line with some of the other cards with
Yeah.
how the power creep is going.
Yep. I could see that. And like I said, I get it. He smashes the lane and everything. I understand what they were doing there or what they were thinking about there. But maybe instead he should smash the other player's card, and you don't even really have to change the graphic very much. You never
Yep.
come out and just see the little bit of smoke and boulders above the card that he hits. So yeah, well, there you go. There you go.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'm looking through everything else, and I'm like, most of these are played. The only other one that's not really played, Adam Warlock.
oh, he's such a great card too.
Yeah,
Like I have so many amazing variants for him as well. And he's a staple of Marvel Comics. Like he had such a large part in the whole Infinity story.
yep,
He's this I don't know. We haven't gotten Magus yet. Magus is like his evil twin, basically. We
mhm,
haven't gotten him in Snap yet, and maybe at some point, sometime. I know that the MCU version of him was kind of goofy. They made him into a little bit of like a corny, I don't know, almost like a kid in a way.
yeah,
But this card needs love because he is I love his mechanic, the drawing mechanic, and I get it. I understand how they said it's you have to be careful with that because it could really give a player an edge.
yep.
I don't know. This could be another one to me that might just need a rework. They've tried so many different ways with him. First, he was I don't even remember all the changes they've done to him now, but to me, I don't know. Maybe just take the card drawing mechanic away from him.
I agree with you. I think the card draw, it's a 12 card game. Really, like Nico's 2 card draw is her best ability
Yep.
easily. Because that gives you so much value. I say take it away, give him something else, make him a unique card that people want to put in their deck.
Yep.
Because I want to play him.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, I have a ton of variants for him, and I hardly play the
They're
card at
really
all.
good too. Like they're good variants.
Yeah, they really are. There's some really, really awesome variants that he has. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I'm trying to think if there's anything more. I don't know. They've done a pretty good job. Really, they have with many of these cards. I have to hand it to them because, and that's one of the reasons why I love to play the game itself. But that's one of the reasons why I love Galactus so much. His animation is so amazing to watch,
Yep.
and you just see him come kneel with the whole thing, and he just blows everything. I mean, that's amazing. So yeah, for the most part, they hit just about everything spot on. Those that they don't, they end up usually correcting over the course of time. And it's really one of the reasons why I enjoy playing this so much too, because not just the lore and growing up with the comics and stuff like that, but also just seeing what these cards do and everything, and seeing how they work in the game is phenomenal.
And honestly, I think it's pretty balanced overall.
Mhm.
In terms like most of the decks that you play that you see are pretty viable.
Yeah,
Uh, we have different ones that we consider like S tier and then lower tiers, but
right.
you can make almost anything work in this game. Can I add one
Yeah,
more card to the list of reworks?
absolutely, sure.
Kang the Conqueror.
Oh yeah. Go
I
ahead.
haven't actually ever played him in any of my decks. I think
Really?
he is the only card I have not played one time.
I was playing him in Alex. Alex came up with a list of high Evo. It was high Evo with Moon Girl.
Okay.
And then of course, and then it was She-Hulk and Infinite that he had in the list. And it was a pretty good list. And he would basically just Kang to see the only reason he had him in there was to Kang to see if somebody was going to get rid of the magic. Because he had the lane magic, and that was the only reason he had him in the game. And I'm like, all right, that's kind of cool, I guess. If you're afraid of that happening, but and yeah, you're right.
I feel like that's a waste of a card slot,
It
right?
kind of is. You're burning it. I think people would burn that card mostly to kind of get a snap vantage, where they would just, all right, let me just see what they're going to do and see what they kind of have here, and then I know whether or not I'm going to snap or not. I think that's really the only reason people were playing him. And yeah, it was cool. It was a cool idea. He messes with time, so he reverses time. I get it. It was a neat idea, but it just doesn't function. There's no one playing him, and there's no rhyme or reason to have him.
Yeah.
And that's another card that's, I think they have to do something with it, like some kind of rework with it, I think.
What if he was able to tell you before the game started the first card of your opponent's deck?
Ooh.
It gives you information. You're burning a
Ooh.
slot with that.
I like
That's,
that. Like an Uatu, but for the deck.
yeah. Like that's valuable information. Immediately you're knowing, you probably have a good idea of what deck type they're playing just from the first card.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that. And it may not be, some people might say, well, that's unfair. Not necessarily. I mean, you might pull a card from their deck that's very generic, or something that a lot of people play in every deck.
Yep.
You might pull a Nebula, or you
Or a
might pull
Nico,
right,
or
or a Nico,
Iron
right,
Lad, or
right. Yeah.
any of those that are flex Jeff,
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure you will every now and then get the card that they need. Like you might pull an Ultron, you might pull a Tribunal, and get that. But yeah, that I think it would definitely be more. It would definitely be played more. I think for sure at that point. Yeah, Kang needs some love. And again, I think he's going to be back in movies. I know it's not going to be obviously the same actor,
right?
But he's going to be back. I know in that Kang Dynasty film. So who knows? Maybe he'll get revisited around that time. And I mentioned Uatu. Go back to letting him see all three lanes.
Yep. I completely agree. Like, what is the last lane going to do for me?
Right. I mean, who cares? Probably nobody's still going to play him anyway, but at least he's something. I mean, he's the watcher. He doesn't do much in Marvel other than watch things happen.
Yep.
Let him see all three stupid lanes, and then at least people would maybe play him. Maybe even when you're first starting a game and he's one of your starter cards, that'll still give you a little bit of an advantage, kind of knowing what's going to come. So let him go back to seeing all three lanes. Like, who cares?
Agreed. I think they should revert that.
Yeah, same here. Awesome. Well, love to hear it. So I want to move on to like some of the upcoming things in Marvel Snap. And one of the things I want to start out and talk to you a little bit about is, and to get your thoughts on this, is of course we have leagues, right? So leagues are going to be starting up. This is just a little explanation of them. Short duration events that will group together the whole player base into a group of 30 in a competition to see who's the best around. Many players were under the impression that leagues would be a new game mode similar to Conquest, but in actuality, it doesn't have a new match mode. It uses every match in Ranked and Conquest to give or take points based on performance. Win cubes, you'll get points. Lose, and your points will be taken away. The goal is to accumulate the most amount of points you can to get those high rank rewards. You might be wondering, are the rewards worth the hassle? I believe so, but you don't have to trust me. And it says, have a look. And there you see them right here. The rewards are 1 through 30, 1,000 credits, 310 boosters, premium mystery variant, and the spotlight key for the number one player. And then it goes down. I'm not going to read them all. You can see them there, credits, boosters, variants, regular variants. It gets to, and then when you get past the top 10, then you're dropping down to just credits and boosters. And then finally, as it gets to the end, and if you're 21 to 25 or you finish last, you're getting 15 boosters. So, when this came out, I think a lot of people were disappointed almost twofold. Yep. Because they were thinking new game mode, because we kind of got teased about that, right? They were saying, hey, we're going to, we're working on a new game mode, and everybody got excited. And now you're kind of seeing this, which is very much so pay to win. Yep. You can definitely pay to win on this. And you can see here, I have a slide here. There's event perks that you can buy, point perk, which is 200 gold, and a point shield, which is 150. So you're not losing points when you play. So what are your thoughts, man, on these leagues? I know a lot of people already have reviewed these on their podcasts and stuff, and they're saying, I'm not even bothering. I'm not going to play in it. It doesn't seem worth it to me. Like, who cares? I'm definitely not paying to do this.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, what are your thoughts on this league thing?
Probably not going to do it either. It feels like the person who's able to commit the most time to it and also put money to it is probably going to win. So if you're playing casually, if you're playing, between your work breaks or when you have time at home, you're not able to commit all that time to one of these things to try and be the number one player.
Yep.
I don't think it's realistic.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and I like on my show, I talk a lot about being a casual player, because I definitely am. And there is no question about it. I don't get a chance to play nearly as much as I would like to. And you guys that are streamers, you put in the time, and you're streaming for your community. But yeah, this is the kind of thing that, first of all, the pay to win stuff kind of sucks. It just does. And the fact that, again, like you were saying, this is another thing where you have to take the time to do it. It's almost like playing in a mini tournament, in a particular amount of time, but you have to play during that point in time. So it's not like you can just say, all right, I'm going to play a match this morning before I head to work. I'm going to go to work, and then when I take my lunch break, I'm going to play another. You can't do it that way.
Nope.
So yeah, it's another kind of like a feel bad to kind of add to the list, unfortunately, that that I mentioned earlier, because I really hope that this isn't the only game mode that they were talking about.
I would love to see a draft mode.
Yeah.
Like an official draft mode, because a draft could be so much fun for like communities to play together.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Like, I would love to do that, where like me and a community member we try and put together a deck based off of the cards that we get through a draft and see how it works. Let's see how it goes. And I think that would also give new decks. It would bring out new decks in general. We'd find synergies that we wouldn't normally find through draft.
Yeah. What do you think about the alliances thing, or whatever it is that's being beta tested. So that's being done overseas.
Yep.
And I mean, that kind of sounds cool. We don't really know much about it yet, and we don't, that's, I think the couple drawbacks that I've seen to that was now. Oh, this is a great question actually to ask you. So if they bring this up, right, and let's say you are going to start an alliance for you and your community, right?
Yep.
If you're limited to 25 people, what do you do? Like, how do you even choose? So I've had people ask me, and I'm a small fry compared to content creators, and people are saying to me, "Oh, we should do an alliance." How do you pick? It's like, what are you going to do?
So I'm thinking, I've already put some thought into this for alliances. I do plan to create a alliance for, the Snap community and within my community specifically. So you can set limits on it. So like, there can be a minimum that you've reached on ladder. So I'm not going to set any like requirements for collection level or anything like that. So I want
Yeah,
new players to be able to get into it.
sure.
But I'm thinking like you have to have at least hit level 80. You know,
Okay.
is that Omega? I think that's Omega level.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then yeah, Omega level, and I'm gonna try and prioritize people who are active in the community.
Okay.
Um, and yeah, community members, and just I want people in my community that show really good etiquette for Snap, that are not toxic, that end games with fist bumps, that just enjoy the game and want to show the best that the Snap community has to offer. That's what I'm
Makes a lot of
thinking.
sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. I could see that. Yeah, I just thought it would be like, for people like yourself, and then, I would imagine some of like your the really, really huge the ones with the humongous like millions and millions and millions of people. It's like I would imagine they kind of even just have to skip it, right? Because you can't, how are you going to decide? Like
either
for
that or they make it very competitive. Like they make it
true.
like you have to be infinite. You have to have a collection level that's this, and it's a bunch of other really big content creators, which I think will
Yeah.
happen. I think
Yeah.
that's a thing that will definitely happen.
They'll make a league of themselves, basically. Yeah, yeah, probably, yeah, that's a smart idea, probably so, because they're kind of up there on that. Like even small people that haven't been playing much, they watch those people and they're like, oh man, they're way beyond me.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah,
My
probably
other
a good idea.
question is, are you able to make more than one? Are you able to join one if you are leading one?
That's a good, yeah. The joining one and leading one, I'm not 100% sure. That's a great question. That's could come into play for even me. I know that and Terrabang's a huge Galactus fan. He's like, I'm making
Yeah.
a Heralds of Galactus League. I'm like, dude, I'm in. I'm like,
I love Intero.
yeah,
He was in stream today.
yeah, was he? Nice.
Yeah,
He was
he
just on
stopped
my
by.
show like last week. He came on the show. Yeah, he's hilarious. And but yeah, we were talking about that. So that's a great question. Like, are you going to be able, I know you can make more than one because there's a
Okay.
price on them.
Yeah, so
So they
I'm okay
yeah,
with opening more than one and like setting different
yeah,
like requirements for them so
yeah,
more community members can play. I'd be
yeah.
cool with that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I also hope that they have a communication thing in there. I hope that people will be able to chat with each other in there. I really think that that's one of the things that are missing, and that's why like I'm 100% behind Snap Judgments and doing their tournaments and stuff that they're doing.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic because in the first season, and I'm playing in this one too. I just met like the 4 people I played was just amazing. After I was done playing, I had like a half hour, 40-minute conversation with each person, and I got to know them a little bit, met some new people, and that's playing Magic in the 90s. I think that was one of the things I loved the most. I would go to these tournaments, and sometimes things don't go your way. You play in your first match, you lose, and then you're like, you get a consolation match, but it's like, and then you're done for the rest of the day. You're waiting sometimes for your friends that are just doing better than you. And what I would do, I'd bring my binders. I'd have be sitting across from somebody and be like, hey, what do you got to trade? And you go around, you meet people, you talk to folks, and it was just a really, really fun time. And I think with digital card games, that's kind of missing sometimes because you have no way to communicate with people other than emoting, right? In
Yep.
game. And so if they would allow that in leagues where you can chat with people, see, I think that's almost invaluable. I really do.
I also would like them to add a friends mode, like have a friends list. If I could see that a friend is online and be like, "Hey, you want to do a quick match? You want to do a quick?"
That would be cool. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be awesome because then you could just do quick games. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
That'd be
Instead of
fun.
the, yeah, I agree. Instead of having to do that, well, I'm going to send you a code and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. And you have to, and even then, you're right because you have to coordinate schedules.
Yep.
You're like, hey, are you free for the next 15 minutes? Well, no, I think, so you can't really do anything. Yeah, I love that. I love that. I hope they incorporate that in and that becomes a thing with that because that could really be that could be something everybody I think would get behind.
Yeah.
I really can see that. And yeah, listen, it's not. I think I want to say it's 100 gold, which isn't that big of a deal to start one. I mean, if you come from games, I was a big MMO gamer. I played a lot of World of Warcraft,
Yeah.
and I was in a guild where that to start a guild in there, I think it was like 10 or 15,000 gold just to start one. So it's pricey, and this really 100 isn't that bad. It's not that big of a deal to start it. So
I also like the fact that they require you to be active on it. Uh,
yes.
Otherwise, somebody else could take the role of leader.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's true, because and that happens, right? Life happens
Yep.
where you might have a leader of the Alliance Guild, whatever they're going to call it, that has something happen where they're going to be out of the game for a little while. You can
Yep.
pass it on to somebody else and let them take over until that person comes back, or whatever the case might be. Yeah, yeah, definitely, for sure. Hope they have something like that as well. I want to go over some cards with you here. So let's start with Blink and talk a little bit about Blink, and then we'll go further. We'll look at the rest of the season cards that are coming out. So, what do you think of Blink, man? I am really pleasantly surprised by this card. This card is really good, man. And that combo with Jubilee, oh gosh, it's so good. I've been combining her with I've had I know people are gonna hate me, but I've had Leech in some of my decks.
I was about to say that
Dude,
leeches.
that Leech combo, that's nasty.
Another one is Shuri.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You Shuri, and then you blink in the same lane that you Shuri in. You get a 14 power blink, and
Yep.
then you pull out either a 6 cost card for free, or either a 6 cost or a 5 cost card.
That's the deck where you end up having a 14 point. You have the 14-point blink, right, in the deck, and then you get, yeah, that's nasty. That's,
Blink, I think, is the best card this season, easily.
I would agree with you. Yeah, I would agree with you. It's a really fun card. Hopefully you guys that are listening got the season passes, because this is one in particular where, like Gregor just said, this is more than likely going to be the best card in this season. And if you miss out on the pass, which if you're ever going to get anything in the game, you really should get the season pass. It is a good value for what you're paying for it. And in this case, for sure, Blink is just really, really good. You're seeing her in a lot of decks. And why not? If you're playing cards that are bigger, that sometimes you just don't dig out of your deck, and you can't get out into play, whether it's a Red Hulk, whether it's a Doctor Doom, something along those lines, she's going to get that out of there. And yeah, it's just a tremendous card. I agree.
Just free value. Like,
Yes.
you're getting a 6 cost or a 5 cost most of the time,
Yep.
for free, and you're putting 7 power on the board at the same time.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. We had a card come out with her as well, and that, of course, is Nocturne. Nocturne is a 3/5. First of all, I got to say this. Beautiful design with this. Beautiful. That they added Nightcrawlers and Scarlet Witch's power together.
Yep.
Came up with the 3/5, and then they gave her both of their powers. I'm like this, like chef's kiss on this one. Beautifully designed. A powerful card too. I mean, look, again, we talked earlier about location manipulation. That's what she does. People who are playing Magic, and I'm starting not to see it played so much anymore, and I wonder why. Because you can really intimidate them by sticking a Nocturne down in a lane, because now they don't know. Are they shutting that off? Do I need to worry about that? Am I not going to get that card I needed out now? So she's a good card. She's a good
Can I
card.
just add that not only is it the combination of their powers, it's a combination of their costs and powers as well.
Yes. Yeah, the 3/5. Because it's what? Nightcrawler is a 1/2.
1/2. Scarlet Witch is a 2/3.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's
Just really
well
good design in general.
No doubt.
She's awesome. Like, I really like her as a card. You can play her instead of another location change type card. So instead of a Storm, you could put in Nocturne. Also, the move ability is great, has great synergy with other move cards.
Yep.
I think she's one of the better cards this season for sure.
Yeah, I do too. I've seen people playing this card in stream, where they've moved it and won a game because of it. Because they'll have the other player will have a bunch of cards on that lane, like 2 or 3 cards. They'll move that. She'll pull up a location where it negatives out all of the cards that's in that lane.
Yep.
And it's like, it's an instant win. You just win the lane. And yeah, very, very, very powerful card. Yeah, she's great. Both of the cards that were released this week were very, very good cards. Totally agree. Next one up. Yeah, this one, I don't know. This she's like Wolfsbane, right?
But this is the part I didn't know about her. It's
Okay.
based off of you and your opponent's lane, not just your lane.
Oh, reveal +2 power for each different power among all other cards here. Okay. All right. Well, that makes it a little better. Okay.
Yeah. I'm like,
Okay.
how is this different than Wolfsbane at first? And then I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So it works for both.
Yep. And
Okay.
it's also an on reveal, so you could do stuff like you could do Absorbing Man afterwards, or you
True.
could do Grandmaster, or you could do Wong. So
Yeah.
there's
Yeah. Wong for sure.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking of her in combo decks.
Yeah. Like a Wong combo deck. Yeah. Yeah. I could say like Wong, White Tiger, maybe. Yeah.
Or Surfer. Like a
Yeah.
combo
Oh,
Surfer because she's
sure.
3.
3 lane. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's true. She could get, I mean, if that lane is full, she gets up pretty high.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, okay. Well, maybe not as bad as I thought anyway. Yeah, yeah, no doubt. Could definitely fit in Surfer for sure. I was never a Surfer fan, but boy, do I get beat by those decks a lot.
Yeah.
They're nasty decks, man. Most of the time, you can see the line, you know what they're playing. You know, you get Brood out there, you get the other staple cards that they have in the deck, and yet for whatever reason, I'm compelled to try to play it out. I'm like, I don't know. It's almost like Hella. It's like you're hoping, yeah, they're not going to have the Hella. And the
Right.
same way with Surfer, because I'm thinking, what if they didn't draw the Surfer? And they always do. Every single time you get Surfered on turn 6.
Yeah, unless
So
you have something to stop the Wong. But luckily, we're at a point right now where Wong is very easily to stop. Lady Deathstrike,
yeah,
Red Guardian.
Red Guardian for sure.
Red
Yeah.
Guardian was just like, no. Yeah, this season is not a Surfer meta.
Yeah, yeah, that's very true. I've been experimenting with a Red Guardian deck, and the only reason I put it in there was to kind of stop the all of the ongoing Patriot lists that are out there. But boy, I'll tell you, the few that I ran into, you shut that Patriot off, they're all but done. It's
Yep.
like it's you win. So Red Guardian, yeah, really really underrated card and really very good card. So yeah, maybe Sage won't be so bad. We'll see. But this comes out tomorrow. Obviously, we mentioned earlier. If you don't have the cards already, might not be a bad one to open up because you're gonna have Legion in there,
Yep.
and you're gonna have Tribunal in there. Both excellent cards. Tribunal is its own deck, and Legion is just
So fun to play.
yeah, so fun to
fun.
play and just amazing, amazing card. So might not be a bad idea to spend some keys this week. So next up, we've got, oh my gosh, this guy is going to bring bounce back.
Yep.
He is a big dude, and he costs 1 less for each card that played the last turn. He's going to be a very cheap 10 power card in bounce lists. So what do you think of Sasquatch?
This is the second strongest card I have for this season.
Yeah.
So play this with a bounce type deck along with Black Swan, and just you get so much value before last turn, and you could probably get Sasquatch for free.
Yeah, 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 yeah. He's I love the character in Marvel. He's not very well known. In fact, I remember when people when he came out, they're thinking, why the hell did they make an abominable snowman for Marvel, which essentially is what he is. But yeah, he's a great character, and it's cool to see him coming. Just another one to add to kind of those monsters lists that are out there. But yeah, he's gonna be great. I'm not a bounce player. Really never was. I think you mentioned earlier that you're not really into bounce. I've never been either, but this is going to definitely make those people that play bounces lists happy for sure.
Yep.
Sure. So, and then this one here is probably the lowest ranked card I would imagine of most people.
Agreed.
Namora is a 5/6. On reveal, give +5 power to each of your cards alone and another location. I was talking with some other players. I remember Lauren Whatevs was on with me, and she had mentioned, like, could you imagine if you put her in the middle, you put a Cosmo on one side, and you put an armor on the other, and you just load them up with every bonus that you could possibly give them, whether it be well, now you have claw, right? So you throw a claw over there to buff up one side. She buffs them up both by 5. You put you put a spectrum in there that bounces. I mean, it's goofy, obviously, and crazy, but I don't know. I just don't see. Some people are thinking that people are sleeping on this card because she gives so much power. It's a lot. It's a +5. That's nothing to sneeze at. but I don't know how you make this work. I mean, there's big cards that can carry a lane, like an Orca or
Yep.
something like that. So maybe that's what they're thinking, and maybe you just make sure you have a way to protect it. Which obviously you can't have something in the same lane, so it would have to be a Kyera.
Kyera. It's
Yeah,
Kyera.
but I mean, I don't know. I just don't know. I would love to see her be good. I just don't know really how it can.
That's the same thing. Like all you have to do is shut down the Kyera, then you can Shang-Chi.
Yeah,
The idea of having to have a single card in a lane is too vulnerable to me.
yeah, yeah.
Um, like what are the some people are like maybe Professor X the side lane. I'm like, but what are the odds that it's actually an empty lane? They're gonna
Right.
have something in there.
Yeah, yeah, for
I,
sure.
I think the
And
most viable thing was what Lauren said was to do like armor and a Cosmo in the other lane because then you're ensuring that they can't be hit
yep,
by
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi.
Yep, yep,
But how much
yeah.
would you be pushing power wise there? You would be
They start
3
off
plus
at
5,
3, right? They're
so
each 3.
8.
Yep,
So you could maybe do 16 with Claw and then you
yep,
Spectrum. So maybe you could win the right lane and the mid lane.
yep. Yeah, you'd have to make a pretty powerful middle lane. But when you think about that too, if you're stacking in the middle lane to do that, so Namora's going to have to be middle. So
Yep.
she's kind of a little underpowered, I would think anyway. Maybe make her bigger. Maybe if they gave her a couple points and made her like a 5'8", because then she could carry that middle lane, right? Because then you're throwing her in there, so that's a 6. Now in
Yep.
our scenario, you're putting Claw in there. Claw's what, a 7?
Let's
Is he
Claw
5'7" now?
5-4.
5, yeah, I'm so okay. So that's 10. You're throwing in Spectrum. She's a 7.
7.
That's a
Yep.
17. So that's not bad. I
Yeah,
mean,
if you're
that's
pushing close to 20, you're usually pretty good for a
yeah,
lane.
yeah. I mean, that's not bad. It'll be interesting to see. I'm sure we'll see some people will get the card and they'll try to do stuff like that and see how it would work. Even if maybe you don't have to do it in both. Maybe you just focus her power in one, right? And
Yeah.
just try to maybe get the other two. So maybe you do that Orca thing, and maybe you have the Kyera in there and just have Orca stuck over there by himself with the extra 5 power and hope that can win a lane. Although I just think it's very hard to see because of the meta we're in, because we are in like gigantic power metas
Yep.
where you're seeing the hella metas and you're seeing just these big lanes that are getting upwards of 28, 30 power. And it's like, is a single Orca plus some bonuses going to win me a lane?
So you're at 16 plus 5. That'd be 21 power.
Yep.
I mean, I might just red Hulk at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Because if you have a Red Hulk that got hit once, he's a 13.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Very true. Very true. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they could do with it. It's maybe, I don't know, maybe they had to change it, get rid of the restrictions. I don't know. I really don't know. I think they tried to think of making her like a Ms. Marvel almost
Yeah.
with more power, but just that restriction is tough. That really makes it tough.
I agree with you. I think this is the weakest card out of the whole season. I
Yeah.
might skip on this one. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. I want to say collection complete, but at the same time, I'm like, what do I do with this?
Yeah. Yeah. It's very true. A shame. She's a great character. Yeah, who knows? Maybe it's somewhere it'll get revisited down the road a little bit, and they'll do something with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to go. Let's see here. This is a very goofy location we're getting. Panopticron. Cards that didn't start in your deck get +2 power here. Uh, that's pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I mean, this this really would help Thanos, yeah. With the
Loki as well,
stones,
too.
Loki for sure. Yeah, all those cards that get bonuses that weren't, Squirrel Girl, of course, the squirrels.
Yeah. Any
Uh,
token cards, really.
yeah, yeah, that'll be interesting. Oh, you know what? While we're on this, I got to get your opinion. What do you think of hot locations? I am not a fan.
I don't like them.
I don't either.
The fact that they always seem to happen like right when a big change in the game happens, when you want to test new cards,
Yep.
you don't get a good feel for what you're testing because there's this RNG thrown into the mix.
Yep. Yeah, I don't like them because many of them force you to play a certain type of deck.
Yep.
And I don't like that. you shouldn't really, like those little events that they have. I like those much better because that's like, okay, gather some X-Men, gather some Avengers, throw them in a deck. That's fun.
Yeah, that gives you
But
a reason to play with new cards.
yeah, no doubt. And cards that like and during those events, you saw stuff you never saw before in any decks.
Yep.
But when you're forcing you, like, what was it recently that was out? Was it Sinister London, or was it was one of those ones that make destroy good? And
Yep.
everybody
Anything that
was,
multiplies.
oh, I hate it. And everybody was playing destroy decks. And it's like, I'm not a fan. First off, I'm not a fan of destroy decks. People who play them, I get you. To me, they're just boring. I don't like the play style because yeah, okay, it's 1 Deadpool, it's 2 Carnage, it's 3 Venom, it's just the same. And I'm like, I don't enjoy the play style, but I get it. Everybody has their own thing, and some people love it. But when they come out with that, and it's like you have no choice but to play, and you're going to see everybody playing destroy because of that. I'm like, yeah, no, I could do without that. And also, why do they put them out at certain times of the month?
Yeah.
Why would you do that on the last weekend of the month where people are making a push to try to get their final rankings in for the month? Like, that's insane to me. Make
Yeah.
them week 2 and week 3. Don't put them in the first and last week of the month.
Or they happen right after the second day after the new season.
Yeah.
So if you don't hit infinite on the first day, you have to skip the second day so you don't tank your rank because you're not playing the hot location.
Yep. Yeah. That's something to me. I don't know. I think it's something that they need to look into and maybe do away with. I don't think anyone really cares for them very much.
Yeah, I
I
understand on a new location,
sure.
like
Yeah,
that makes
absolutely.
sense. Like let's get this new location so people get a feel for it.
Yep.
But yeah, if it's just a random one that just gives a deck an advantage, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It's something I think that they need to look into a little bit. Um, and then I want to talk to you about this guy. Now, we're not going to go over because everybody has seen the cards already, obviously, from Eternals. Say what you well, and I'll ask you this too. Are you excited about Eternals? Now, I saw the movie. I thought it was okay. I didn't hate it. I know a lot of people out there, it's not their favorite one. It was long. And I didn't I don't have a history with them. I haven't really read the books from the early 70s or whenever it was they came out, but it was okay. The movie was pretty good. So what are your thoughts overall? Just we're going to head into this season. And I had said to, I think it was Lauren as well, but we were talking about where this could be a tough sell for them as
Yeah.
far as the season pass goes,
Yeah.
because not a lot of people like the genre. So it's going to be maybe a little bit of a tougher sell. See, if I were doing this, to me, this would have been the season pass because this card's going to be fun, I think. I
Yeah.
really do believe so. It's certainly not going to be, I don't think, a ladder card unless maybe somebody comes up with a real genius way to use it. But this, I think, is going to be great. Like for you yourself, I'm thinking streamers can say to their community, hey, we're going to have an Arishem day. And we're just going to play Arishem today and just see how it goes, and see what kind of goofy decks I'm going to get and all this other kind of stuff. I think it's just going to be a fun card.
Yeah, I love meme decks, and this is
Yes.
perfect for those type of meme decks. I love Agatha. I
Yeah. Oh,
love
me too, man.
just like I just can turn my brain off. Agatha, you do the steering, take the wheel. This will be fun. Also, being a Darkhawk enjoyer, immediately I saw Arishem and I'm like, we're gonna see the biggest Darkhawks we've ever seen.
Yeah, that's gonna be sick, man. Yeah, oh yeah, you're right. It's I don't know. People say that they wanted a draft mode. I think this is it's a draft. This is in essence a draft mode. You're getting a whole handful of cards, and they're saying, okay, go ahead and do with this what you will.
Yeah.
Because yeah, sure, you can make a deck, but are you going to see the cards in your deck? Maybe not for the most part. So, I mean, you can make a remember. Because you imagine if Blob wasn't fixed.
Yeah. Well,
Holy.
here's the thing I'm thinking with Arishem, the way that you can fight the Darkhawk, if you're somehow able to do Blob into like Absorbing Man.
Yeah. And just dump all the cards. Yeah.
Or Grandmaster on top of Blob.
Yep.
He would reactivate and go mid.
Yep. Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah. It's Now that you mentioned Agatha, dude, I do this goofy meme thing on every single weekend. I started this. I call it Weekends with Agatha. I
Yeah,
use her every single weekend for weekend missions. I never ever switch. I literally will take a deck. I'll plug her in there and I'll put the two weekend mission cards in that deck, and that's all I use every
love that.
single weekend. It's hilarious. And people get so mad when they lose to Agatha and they see her get played. It's like, I'm out. I'm not
Yep.
thinking. Oh my gosh, I love when I saw her brought to the MCU when she was in, of course, in WandaVision. I was over the moon. I remember her, and there's a variant of it, the old witch one with the gray hair and the cat.
Yep.
She was in Fantastic Four comics when I was very young, reading those, and I that's how I was introduced to her. They took her over to. It was the weirdest, goofiest story that they Reed and Sue took their son to this who was supposed to be this old spinster babysitter. Oh, we're gonna bring Franklin over to. Well, when you're looking at the outside of the house, it looks like an old style haunted house from the 70s, right? It's just this big, ugly, like, first of all, who's taking their baby to this person, right? And they get in there and it's Agatha. And I had no clue who she was. And you're thinking it's just this creepy old woman, right? This, okay. And then as the story goes on, she brings in the Frightful Four and she reveals that she's this witch. And that's how I got introduced to the character. When they brought her to the game, and of course, when I saw her in the MCU, and completely different, by the way. And
Yep.
now she has a series coming out, which I'm gonna love. I'm absolutely gonna love that when that comes out. They changed the title for the fourth time of that, by the way, today.
What
Which
is it
is
called now?
it is hilarious. Whoever thought this up, people are starting to say they're thinking that the whole entire thing is a meme. That they're just doing it because at the end they're going to entitle it and they're going to say it was Agatha all along.
Okay.
Now it is Agatha, the lying witch with the great wardrobe.
Love it. That's amazing.
And now the people that are saying that might be right, and maybe they are just going to change the title back and be like it was Agatha all along. That would make total sense. But yeah, I'm glad to hear you say that you like that. It is so much fun for me. It's like the most fun thing I do in Snap every single weekend to see her win games in
Yep.
the stupidest ways too, because she does some really dumb stuff.
Yep. She puts cards in the worst possible position.
Oh,
She actually does pretty good in discard decks. Like,
yes, yeah, I've tried her in that list. Yep.
yep.
Yeah, she does. There like the stupid things you're talking about. She'll play herself into a lane where the cards are destroyed. So
Yep.
she'll just throw her down. You're thinking, oh, okay, cool. She's going to play herself down. It's 14 points. Nope, I'm going to blow myself up in the lane. It's so, but it is so much fun. It's one of the few things one of the things that not few, one of the things in this game that I really enjoy doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, but you're right. This could definitely be along those lines, because you're going to get some really crazy stuff that's happening with this. I just think it's neat. It's a seven card, right? Which we only have one other, which is Death. That's higher than the 6 cost.
Yep.
So yeah, I think this is going to be fun. We're gonna see humongous Darkhawks for sure, and yeah, I think this is just going to be a fun card in that season. So, but other than that, I don't know. I don't know whether or not it's going to have enough attraction to it, especially now since we know in July that Deadpool is coming,
Yep.
which of course everybody is going to want to see that film and everybody's going to be all into it, and that's going to attract people to the game for sure. So I don't know. I mean, what do you think about overall, like the season, without going into the cards as much? But what do you think about Eternals just being a season that's coming out in overall, like the overall thoughts on it?
I mean, it's about the same for me with where Thunderbolts are. Like, a lot of people don't know the Thunderbolts, right?
Very true. Yeah.
So I kind of think it's the same with the Eternals. We have some good cards in there. I think it's Fastos
Yeah.
is.
Yep.
I think he's going to be really good.
Yeah.
I think people are going to be more hyped for obviously Wolverine and Deadpool because the movie's going to be going on. They're going to have an event with it. They have this super sick variant for Wolverine that you get with the season pass.
I saw that. Yeah, it's really cool.
But yeah, I think Eternals isn't a bad idea. And then I think we're supposed to get Young Avengers after that.
That looks awesome.
I'm very much looking forward to that.
Those Arrow cards with Hawkeye. Oh man, yeah.
I'm really hoping that it's similar to Nico's.
Yep. I wonder if the arrows are going to see play or if they just look that way like Nico's do. Like yeah, I don't know how that's going to work. Obviously, you can kind of predict what the arrows do. Like
Yeah.
there's an arrow that looks like it's going to be infliction, right?
Yep.
It's going to give some sort of infliction. The one looks like it maybe will move her.
The
Because the
grapple, the
grapple, yeah.
acid, and then there's the pim particles, and then a regular arrow
Yeah,
is
the
what we've
pin
seen.
particles, I wonder what they're gonna because you can you imagine it'll grow something like bigger and it'll get more power or it's not like I don't know.
That's what I
Um,
think it's going to do. It's going to give a buff to one of your cards.
yeah, yeah, that's gonna be a fun season. I know a lot of people are gonna be into the Young Avengers. That's gonna be fun. Yeah, man. I mean, some final thoughts from me here. I don't want to keep you too much longer because I know you had a long day streaming, but what would you like to see going forward from the game? You know, like if there was something that you really would hope to come out other than just some card adjustments here and there and stuff, and that would get you excited, make you excited about the future of the game going forward. What are some of the things that you would hope to see coming soon?
Um, well, there's one thing I'd like to see, and that's better communication with the community in general. When
Mm,
changes happen, I feel like there's a disconnect between the stuff that gets. I feel like the creators are the point of communication to Twitter for changes that are made. Sometimes,
yeah,
I would like more changes that are made to be given out through communication via either the community manager or through Snap directly when things happen. But I overall things I would like to see, like I said, I would like to see a draft mode at some point in the future.
yeah, it'd be fun.
Um, I don't know. I'm actually pretty happy with the meta right now.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree. Yeah,
I'm,
I would agree.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
I'm still having fun with the game. Like I haven't gotten tired of it. Part of that is it's a fun game, but another part of that is it's a wonderful community. So
It
it
is.
wants me to keep coming back.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I 100% agree. Of all the stuff that I've been around, you know, I do a stream for another thing that I've done since COVID. I would agree with you 100%. Like everybody in this community that I've met has been amazing. Absolutely amazing, yourself included. You know, all the other people who've been kind enough to come on the show with me and have welcomed me in as kind of a nobody, right? I wasn't known to anyone, but you're right. I think there's a really special group of people that do this, and that enjoy this game and have come to it because of their love of Marvel or of, like you were saying earlier, of just following Ben Brode because he does good work. But yeah, I 100%. I think I think that's, yeah, phenomenal. And we all want to see it do well, right? We all want to see it succeed. And so, yeah, hopefully they'll continue to do the things they do, um, as well as they do them, and they'll try to get some things in here that'll just make the gameplay just overall, you know, fun enough to keep the people going and stuff like that. So, yeah, awesome, awesome. I love it,
hopefully
man.
they keep listening to the community. That's the big thing is
Yes.
taking feedback from the community seriously and then implementing it.
Yeah, we were seeing a lot of those surveys. Remember, it's at certain points you'd get like a survey almost every other month that would come out, and
Yeah.
you're like, "Hey, what, you know, did you like this? Did you not like it?" I think they should keep doing that.
Yep.
It's a smart idea to do to keep the button on things, and I'm sure guys like, you know, the developers and stuff. I know Glenn has come out and said that he watches stuff. I'm sure they all do. They'll all
Yeah.
take a look at YouTube and they'll watch people's videos and stuff and see what's going on to keep a gauge on things. But yeah, that's one of the things I think that's a fear for people, especially with mobile games. I ran into one years back. It was another Marvel game that lasted maybe a year, little over a year, and I sunk money into it, and it was like after that, there's just like, nope, we're done. We're gone, and that, you know, mobile games it's tough that way. Sometimes they don't last very long. So
Yeah.
yeah, we all just wanted to do well and to keep making it fun, because we're all in it because we love the game. So awesome. Awesome stuff. Well, hey man, thank you so much for coming out. I really, really appreciate that. You know, love what you do, and yeah, tell everybody again how they can find you, of course, and how they can you know, be a part of your community.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, Gregor2424. You can find me on Twitter, Gregor_2424. On Twitch, twitch.tv/Gregor2424. at Gregor2424 on YouTube, at Gregor2424 on TikTok. And yeah, come out on to the stream. New players, advanced players. I just love chatting and nerding about stuff that we all nerd about. Like, tell me your special interests. Are you into anime? Are you into Marvel? What are you excited about? Like, I love like just expressing general interest of this thing that we all have in common. It's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. I've I always say that I never thought growing up in the 70s and 80s and stuff that I would see a lot of this. I never thought in a million years I'd see, you know, like I told you earlier today, earlier on the show, a Man Thing being brought to a big screen. I never thought I'd see it. And I'm just over the moon. When I saw Thanos in a theater for the very first time, I was like, oh my God, it's Thanos. And here you are from a 50-some-year-old guy that geeks out about this stuff because yeah, it's so much fun to see. And sometimes you wish that, you know, you're going to get people that are going to get upset. It just happens no matter where you are. But when you look at it through the people who really enjoy its eyes, sometimes you can just kind of see like, wow, that's kind of cool, you know? So yeah, great stuff, man. Love it.
I also love that
Absolutely
it
love it.
bridges age gaps. Like, it doesn't matter how old you are. You could just be coming into this fandom, or you
No
could have
doubt.
grown up with like Bronze Age comics.
Yep.
We all have that same love.
Yep. No doubt. No doubt. Yep. Fantastic. Well, that's great, man. Tucker, thank you so much for joining. Tucker, Gregor.
We love Tuck
Oh,
too.
why
We
not
love the
Tucker? We
king.
love Tucker too. Tucker was on my show once before. Yes, Gregor, of course. Thank you for coming on so much. Really, really appreciate it. You are certainly welcome to come back anytime. I know you're a busy man, but yeah, stop back anytime. I would absolutely love to have you back. And yeah, guys, please make sure you check him out on his streams. Yeah, enjoy playing Marvel Snap. That is going to do it for this episode. Remember to check out, I will have an audio show out tomorrow. And then, of course, I will have JD Mack as well coming on the show. So check out those streams. Would appreciate that. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure that you like the video and you sub to the channel if you're here. And, of course, on audio, make sure that you comment or grade the podcast. That helps me out as well. And of course, check out Gregor's stuff on Twitter and Twitch, and of course on TikTok as well. Make sure you check him out also. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. This is your Snap DJ. Please stay safe, be kind to one another, and hopefully I will talk to you all in the next one. This is the Snap DJ signing off.